Hey everybody, I just did a video and it was just too long. I want to talk a minute about the housing and rental situation that's going on out there. What I would say right now is if you are renting and you're looking to buy, I personally wouldn't unless I came across just a great deal, especially if you need a mortgage. I believe housing prices will go down. Maybe not substantially. If you are a cash buyer and you're getting something and you plan to stay there, that's a whole different ballgame. But if you have affordable rent right now and you can afford what you're renting, I would wait. Markets go up and down, and one thing I'm hearing a lot is, oh, the markets are because of all these private lenders. Y'all, that is not true. That's a bunch of political rhetoric being put out by both parties right now. What's happening is, yes, we have a large percentage of private investors that own homes right now, that own single family homes. But one of the main things that's happening is it's the cost of materials and the cost of labor, and there is a housing shortage. So about 4% of the private equity firms own houses. The rest of them are smaller individual mom and pop investors. Yeah, they may own 100 different units, but those are not the big S&P 500 companies and things like that. BlackRock only owns about 4%. So I am not a financial advisor, but I'm telling you that I always look to see all these little talking heads on TikTok and Instagram Reels and all that. You guys, you can't take that stuff. You've got to and look into what it is. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because you cannot control what they do. You are not a big institution. You're not the government. You can vote. You can decide what you do with your dollars. You vote with your dollars as well as when you go to the polls. But you have to focus on what you can do. My daughter is always sending me stuff, and it's like being mad at the government. But at the end of the day, I just tell her what you can do is become debt-free, pay off all your debts, save money, and get your income to debt ratios low, and try to save towards a down payment. She might not get 20%. When the tide turns, then you'll be ready to move. We are in construction, and over my lifetime, I've had 5 homes, 2 of which I own now. I've had mortgages on 4 of them. I've had mortgage rates as low as 3 point something percent and as high as 11.9%. I have been house poor. I know exactly what that's like. I've moved from a very nice brand new house to a 2-bedroom, 1-bath dump that had not been remodeled since the 60s. It had shag carpet and we could not afford to remodel it. So we did what we could. We painted, we ripped up carpet. But I lived in that house with it being pretty old until I moved out for 14 years. So you have to focus on what you can do. If what you're paying for rent is less than what you're paying, less than 30% of your income, ideally you want it less than 25%, you are probably better off than if you go to try to buy a house. Because if you get a house that's say 25 to 30% of your income, on top of that, you have to figure out, are you going to have to pay private mortgage insurance? Are you going to have to pay taxes and insurance? Yes, you are. Are there POA dues? What about repairs? Your landlord's not going to be there to fix your AC when it goes out. Your landlord's not going to be there to change your carpet out and things like that when, I don't know, whatever upgrades they do in between. So right now, knowing what I know, looking back at my history, if I was a renter right now, I would stay a renter and focus on being debt-free and saving a lot of money, because I don't really think a house is a great investment right now. And you also want to make sure if you're young that you're going to, or wherever you are in life, that you're going to stay where you are for 3 to 5 years at least, because you will lose money when you sell, most likely, if you're not planning on it. Ideally, 5 years to 10 years. They're saying now it's 10 years to break even. And the biggest problems right now we're seeing with why housing is expensive are severalfold. The cost of materials has gone up. I can tell you we are hit with price increases every 3 to 6 months as contractors. We've had to pay our guys more because inflation. They need to be paid more so they can survive. And then also we have a lot of, I may have already said this, but we have a lot of zoning issues. Where back in the 80s and 90s, we were building all these McMansions. So these neighborhoods have these minimum builds. You have to build at least 2,000 square foot house. Well, we don't have an abundance of 1,200 to 1,500 square foot houses for people to have starter homes anymore. And until we change that, till we change the zoning issues, till we get the cost to build down, we're going to continue to see this. We need more homes in the market. And I believe the tide will turn, because I have seen the market go up and down my whole life. I have seen houses go really, really high, and there be some kind of big oil bust or stock market boom or bust. In 2008, the housing bubble burst. Back in the 80s, I saw my parents go through the gas and oil crisis, and prices went from like a house that was 140 went down to 50,000. And then in 2008, my old house I sold for around 200,000. 4 years later, it was on the market for 164,000 from 2004 to 2008. So the market's always moving. You just have to be patient, and you have to be ready. Having cash reserves, having no debt, being ready to pounce when the market shifts is the best thing you can do, and that's what you can control. If you like this, please hit like and subscribe. Thank you.